done tremendous work with the young people in this country. Charles has been able to change the lives of many of the young people that you are seeing presenting him today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment for Charles. And it is interesting that Charles is joined by individuals who had contested the nomination when the nomination was called. Charles has been able to unify a constituency branch that did not exist prior to his nomination. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you the man of the moment, the next representative for the constituency of St. John. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Charles MacDonald. Charles, vote for Charles. Charles is ready to serve. Charles MacDonald Griffith. Thank you.
It's been a long time. Long time. But change is going to come. It's been a long time, St. John. I'm told that Errol Walton Barra indicated that at some point in time, St. John will throw up a representative from the heart of St. John. St. John, here I am. Greetings to all of you and welcome to the constituency of St. John. I know that there's some of you here tonight who are not familiar with Charles Griffith, so I will start my presentation by means of introducing myself to the constituency of St. John. Now, I am the product of a single mother who fathered me, and as many of you know, I was born right in Edgecliff, St. John. And it is time for change in my parish. Now, my politics will revolve around people because people I love. So, I have 3 children, like I said before, born in the parish of St. John. I've worked in St. John all of my life. I got involved in politics because I believe that it is the right time for St. John. It is time for somebody to come from St. John who believe that change could come, that believe that development must come to St. John. And I have particular interests as it relates to the constituency of St. John. And I'm just going to go through some of those things that I'm interested in as it relates to my parish, to our parish. Sports has been something that has been part of my life for almost 25 years. So one of the things that I will be doing in St. John is pushing sports, the development of sports, because we have nothing now in St. John. Culture is another area that must come alive in St. John. We have nothing happening as it relates to culture in St. John, but that will change. Entrepreneurship is another area that I'm absolutely concerned with, because unemployment in the constituency in St. John is at a high. And one of the ways that we can quell the unemployment is to use self-employment, entrepreneurship as one of the vehicles to drive the young people and to drive my parish forward. Now, as mentioned before, I've spent like 20 years in youth work, but I'm also concerned about the senior citizens in St. John. At present, we have 797 persons in St. John who are over 75 years. And we must find something in St. John to keep these people occupied in their twilight years. And I am pledging tonight that I will do something about that. We have blocks across St. John that are just there. We have Lot 38 at Cherry Grove. We have Ground Zero, which is adjacent to the community center, the polyclinic at Glebe-Land. We have Venture Gorillas from Venture. We have BMW in Sherburne. We have the Edgecliff Vigilantes, and nothing is happening on the blocks across St. John. But it will change because there's a reservoir of talent that is lying idle on the blocks that we must tap into in St. John. And I intend to do that. So during the period of time, there's a whole lot of things that must happen in St. John that will change. I was canvassing this week and I was told that Georgia was in Sherburne. Sorry, predictive text again. George was in Sherburne. And someone asked him, do you know anything about St. John? And he indicated, I will learn St. John. You can't come to St. John and learn St. John 2 or 3 weeks before a general election. It is insulting to my people in St. John. Now, I have heard a lot of chatter about the fact that the Barbados Labour Party was in power for 14 years and did nothing in St. John. And I want to suggest that for the last 10 years, the Democratic Labour Party was in power and nothing has happened in the parish of St. John. And let me give you a tour of the constituency of St. John, and you tell me what was done in St. John. In College Savannah, we have a situation where there's a community center that is falling apart. And the youngsters in College Savannah, they travel to Blades Hill in order to engage in football because the state of the playing field is of such that football can't be played in College Savannah. We have side roads in College Savannah that are falling apart, and we had a representative in St. John for 10 years, and nothing has happened. At Concept Bay, we have fishermen who are plying their trade in Concept Bay, and the jetty is falling apart, and nothing has been done in Concept Bay. In Sealy Hall, St. John, we have a situation when rain falls that residents break out fishing lines because the road turns to rivers in College Land, St. John. We have no playing facilities for the youngsters, no recreational facilities in College Land. At Welch, St. John, we are that close away from cutting off a community because of the poor state of the road. We have about 40 or so residents in Barfland who, under the Barbados Labour Party, we put measures in place that persons can purchase lots at $10 a square feet. And Mara Thompson went to Welch Village and held a consultation 3 years ago with the residents of Welchland in terms of them being able to purchase their lot. 3 years later, they're still squatting in Welchland. The Barbados Labour Party, through me, will fix that. So I am saying that we have situations throughout St. John where there are a number of problems that are constant in St. John, and nothing has been done in St. John. At Huddleston Land, my community, a landowner 2 years ago gave Mara Thompson a plot of land and said to her, I want you to develop this land as an additional recreation for the youngsters in St. John. I'm suggesting to you tonight, as I stand here, nothing has been done with that piece of land. The Barbados Labour Party on the mayor and more Mortley, we will fix that in St. John. We have a situation in Foster Hall where I don't know if it is a situation where they believe that the people in Foster Hall must enjoy a roller coaster. The roads are swerving like that in Foster Hall. Nothing has been done for 10 years. Now, I know that resources are scarce, and the infrastructure in St. John is something that we need to take care of, but we will fix that. We have the old polyclinic at Gall Hill that is falling apart, and Mara Thompson is doing nothing as it relates to the old polyclinic at St. John. Now, as part of my proposal for St. John, if the engineers can prove that the integrity of the building is strong enough, we will gut the building and make sure that persons in St. John have a facility where we can provide services and goods to the people in St. John at that location. At Gore Hill as well, we have a situation where the hard courts, the basketball that I coached up to last year, a Premier League team, the top league in Barbados, and we have the pole on the ground for almost 6 weeks. The court, there's a need to paint the court. Now, you had a tattoo adjacent the hard court at Gore Hill. And you claim that one of your focus as it relates to St. John is building the capacity of young people and moving youth groups forward. And you're going to allow the court in St. John to remain as is. I am suggesting that we will fix that. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about as well is the fact that over the years, we have seen persons in St. John who are struggling, absolutely struggling for survival, and nothing has happened. And my daughter would say to me that people are now woke. They're now aware of what is happening. While canvassing with some of my 300, I call them my 300, my team, I went to an amputee in a particular community, and she said to me, Mr. Griffith, I have supported the Democratic Labour Party all of my life. I'm not going to call the name this board. And she said to me, look, Mara would have turned her back on me. And come election time, all I want you to do, Mr. Griffith, is to send a car. Send a car, and I will take care of the rest. And I am suggesting that this is happening throughout the length and breadth of Barbados. Yeah? So, why I came to public life? I came to public life because, as Comrade Ford is saying, to serve. I came because the blocks across St. John are struggling. We need things that will make them happen. I came to public life because I believe that the people in St. John need representation, quality representation. So I came. I came to public life because a black man 1,000 miles away, along with his team, who they said it was impossible for it to happen, Barack Obama, and he said, yes, we can. And I'm saying that in St. John tonight with my team, yes, we can. Yes, we can. So I am not afraid when they say that this particular journey is impossible, because I know that the tide in St. John is changing. The winds of change are changing, and home drums are beating first this time in St. John. We will do what we have to do. But before my speech is finished, I want to talk a little bit about fiction. This particular document that I'm holding in my hand, the Democratic Labour Party 2008 manifesto, and youth manifesto. And I have canvassed in St. John, and they told, old guy told me, where are you going to get the money from? Where your party is going to get the money from to facilitate the changes that you want to see in Barbados? And I am suggesting that all of the candidates, I'm going to ask my campaign manager to put this on my webpage. And I want all of the candidates, I want all of the young people in St. John, when the Democratic Labour Party visit you, ask them for 10 years, why was nothing in this youth manifesto? Why did nothing happen in this? And I'm going to share some of the things in this manifesto as it relates to the liars and what Patrick said. On page 2 of the document, it is stated here that this manifesto is a contract between the great party and the youth of Barbados. This fiction, 10 years, a story. And I will share the information because, like I said, no young person in St. John or in Barbados should vote for the Democratic Labour Party, because this is a failed document. It is absolutely a failed document. Now, I remember not so long ago, a member of the Democratic Labour Party was attacking Dale, and they gave that particular member an award, recognition. I am suggesting that this is a youth document, And I'm also suggesting that for the last 10 years, nothing has happened in Barbados to move my young people forward. And I have walked in the corridors of youth work for the last 20 years, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, you have a situation where you're here to say here, to consult extensively with young people through representative organizations. As I stand here tonight, I'm suggesting that youth organizations in Barbados is at an all-time low. Now, this Democratic Labour Party would make you believe that things like summer camps came into being in 2008. Now, they capitalized the camps to a tune of $6 million. For 14 years, under the Barbados Labour Party, we had one single youth commissioner running the camp system across the length and breadth of this country. And we were giving camps $1,000 startup. But in 2008, camps were capitalized to the tune of $6 million, and they're falling flat on their face. Now, I'm a youth officer, and one of the things that happened is that the youth officers in Barbados were bastardized under the Democratic Labour Party as operatives of the Barbados Labour Party. And the reality is that every single youth initiative that you can speak to in Barbados today is being fueled by the youth commissioners under the Division of Youth Affairs. Every single one. So when there's this belief that everything in youth work would have started in 2008, I am here to dispense that notion and to say that it is a joke. In the document, it speaks to strengthening the capacity of youth organizations to reach young people where they're at. And I would have just indicated that there are no youth organizations functioning anymore. The camp system was a voluntary process, and they took the camp system and they started to pay persons to deal with the camps. And it is in a worse state than it has ever been in the life of the camp systems in Barbados. And in the document, it speaks to strengthening the capacity of families. And there was a mantra not so long ago in St. John about family first. And all of us are aware that family first died a slow death. Because there are no households in St. John that will tell you that they believe that their family was placed first at any point in time under the Democratic Labour Party or in the last 10 years. No family was placed first. So I don't know this family first. It is pure nonsense. And like I said, it is buried and done. Let me continue in the document. And this one is a classic. This is an absolute classic coming from this document. And again, I want to place emphasis that all the young people in Barbados and in St. John, families should ask the Democratic Labour Party what has become of this 2008 Youth Manifesto. And I'll read for you. The Democratic Labour Party recommits to high-quality education in Barbados, free for all from preschool to tertiary. Can you imagine that? In their contract, they're talking about free education from nursery to tertiary education. And these are the same people that have persons in St. John cannot reach their true potential because they cannot afford tuition fee at the university. I was by my branch office yesterday, and I was talking to a young lady who was waiting for 3 hours for a bus. And she said to me, I asked, because as I usually do, I try to inquire, what are you doing? And she said to me, I was in university, but I had to step out. And it wasn't necessary for me to ask why, but I did. And she said, my family and I, we cannot afford tuition fee. We cannot afford to pay university. And I am saying to you that that is replicated throughout St. John, where young people who want to reach their true potential cannot do it because this wicked government, this liars, and what Patrick said, would have caused a whole set of people in Barbados to drop out of university. It is wicked. It is absolutely wicked. And they talk about teaching on page 7. They speak about teaching the subject of enterprise, an education and institution. Where is it happening? Where is it happening? Look, I had a project that, because in 2008, let me explain. In 2008, I was moved from St. John after doing the work that I was doing to move the young people in St. John forward. And I staged a community project that was looking at primary schools. We have major problems in the primary school setting. And the community project dealt with, it was called Moving On. So after 11 plus exam, what we were doing is going into the school and providing young people with conflict resolution knowledge, anger management, money management, things that we believe were necessary. And this particular administration stopped the program. And I mean, we have a case at work where my colleagues make fun at me because I got an award from the constituency council in in Christchurch. And they made fun because at the time, Ronald, predictive text, was making a presentation. He was making a presentation. And for reasons that I will not at this particular time reveal, he refused to shake my hand and present the particular trophy. But I'm saying, I am saying that the initiatives that we can bring to St. John, we need to deal with the educational system. We need to move the 3 primary schools in St. John to a level where we are absolutely pleased with the product that is coming from those particular schools. And I have made representation to the PTA presidents in St. John for me to come in and have a talk, because I have some ideas in terms of how we can treat to what is going on in St. John. And I believe that it is something that is not outside of the scope of fixing the problems and the issues that are in St. John. All it needs is a little vision. Understand? And when I talk about vision, like we have a constituency, what is it called? Those things that they put together. The constituency council that are interested in doing kite flying and projects of that nature in my constituency of St. John. But it will change. We have a whole set of idle land across St. John, and farming is a viable option for some of the guys on the blocks who are interested in farming, and we will deal with it. We will put persons to work in St. John. Entrepreneurship will be the mantra going forward as it relates to how we treat to St. John. And I'm saying that my candidacy is about providing a voice for the voiceless. It is about offering quality representation where it was not present before in St. John. I am from St. John. I am from among the people in St. John, and I will remain among the people in St. John, because I have a vested interest and a responsibility to ensure that this parish moves to a level that the people in St. John can be pleased. And I am saying to you, yes, Marcus, here I am, St. John, every time. And I am saying that I am aware, and I know you're aware, that the purse of this country is at an all-time low. And it will be a gradual process in terms of how we treat the development in St. John, but believe me, it will come. And it will come because you would have heard from the chairman of the party, and I heard from our political leader, whose vision is something beyond imagination. And she would have assured that, yes, assistance will come to St. John. And I believe that, because I may be standing here alone talking to you, but I am not alone, because there are 29 others in a team that are focused and ready. And we will do what we have to do. In 2008, when we moved away from office, we left a luxury liner. And right now, we're adrift in a little sailboat. You understand? Yes, we are. The reality is that I was home watching a horror, Nightmare on Elm Street. And I realized that Freddy is nothing compared to his big brother, Frondell Krueger. It's a nightmare. A nightmare in this country. And a nightmare that, it didn't last for a night in your dreams. There's a nightmare that lasts for 10 years across the life and breath of this country. But you know what? The Barbados Labour Party, we have Ghostbusters. And we're dealing with it. We're dealing with it. So I am asking tonight the people in St. John to get behind my candidacy. And try me once. Yeah? I'm asking everybody to vote for Charles Griffith in St. John. Because the reality is that nothing has happened and we need change. And this particular candidacy will bring change. I have a team that is working, the Barbados Labour Party. I mentioned my political leader. And you must know the quality of the lady that we call Mayor Amor Mortley. And before I go off the stage tonight, this is not John King or Sonia with a special voice, but I want you to help me raise a one-line song. Because remember what I said, when we moved away, there was a luxury liner. And all I want you to sing with me tonight for my political leader is Mia row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Yeah? So I am going to raise this song, and I want you to join me in relation to that. So, Mia row the boat ashore, hallelujah. Sounding good. Hallelujah. One more. Hallelujah. So you understand. You understand. We have a captain. We have a captain on board the boat that the Democratic Labour Party got out to sea adrift. But you know what? We have the necessary hands. We don't need the rest right now. So I'm saying to you that I am pleased to be part of a team of 30 persons who I know the quality, the necessary quality to save Barbados. And we're led by an inspirational leader, a visionary leader that is responsible in part for me walking those same corridors that I talk about for 20 years in youth work. Because in 1995, Mayor Amor Mortley decided that it was necessary to invest in our future by putting together the Division of Youth Affairs. And with 32 youth commissioners, they work across the length and breadth of this beloved country, facilitating the needs and aspirations of young people, the same way that I will facilitate the needs and aspirations of the young people and all of St. John. So I am saying to you that despite the fact that they say that this particular journey is impossible, it is not impossible. St. John, here I am. And together we will rebuild. Together we will rebuild. So tell Georgia Pilgrim that home drums will beat first in St. John this time around. They must beat first. They must beat first. And I believe that my innate skill sets, coupled with those of the other members of this Barbados Labour Party, will move St. John forward. And I am saying to you that I solemnly pledge that I will be here for the distance. I swear I will be here for the distance, because this is my parish. And this is the parish that I believe can do so much better than what happened for 10 idle years. And we will fix that. Home drums must beat first. And if you remember my intro song, it's been a long time coming, but change gonna come to my parish. St. John, here I am. Thank you.